Start of the season to now, biggest improvement in your guys and the one thing you'd like to have them finish strongly on closing out the season?
Yeah, I think probably their attention to detail has been the thing that I think has improved the most throughout the season. I think we had a lapse one game probably, that would have been Texas Tech, where I felt like maybe we went not backwards but didn't necessarily gain anything out of it in terms of growth. But outside of that, I thought they've done a good job of tightening some things up there.
And then these last couple of regular season games,
Yeah.
obviously still battling the unavailability issues.
100%. But again, that's not an excuse, not a crutch. Really, the final few games, we want to play clean, sound football. So we just want to make sure that obviously everybody's knowing their job and doing their job, really sharp with their eyes, reading their keys. Not beating ourselves. There's going to be teams that make plays and players that make plays on us. Obviously, they've got kids that are on scholarship as well. But our job is to try to win as many of those one-on-ones as possible. And, I thought for the most part throughout the season we've done that. Again, a lapse in a game or two. And again, when we don't play well in the back end, it shows.
I don't want to say the last week was easy by any means, but obviously K-State's a run-heavy team.
Yeah.
This week you're playing a team that kind of attacks you everywhere. So
Absolutely.
Is that your point of emphasis?
Yeah.
Hey, we've really got to be ready from the get?
Well, if not number one, I'm sure they're pretty highly rated in terms of explosive plays and the ability to be able to hit the long home run ball. And so obviously for us on the back end, we've got to do a good job of minimizing the explosive play. And that's going to take all 11, not just us, but the defensive line, the linebackers doing their jobs. And I think our kids are up for the task. We know what we're faced with, and it's on us to now come out and execute the game plan.
Akeem makes the big play at the end to get the interception.
Right.
He's a guy that seems like he's maybe not quite lived up to expectations over the years, but he's been pretty solid this year. Just what have you seen out of him?
Well, I'm happy to hear you say that, big fella. But I'll say he's a consistent worker, and the one thing about Akeem, we talk about it as a staff, is that he's never on a list. He's never being called out for the wrong things. He's always going to be a guy who consistently comes, he shows up, he works. We put our GPS systems on our guys, and he's consistently one of the highest outputs. And for a guy who needs to get better, that's the only thing that you can do is continue to work at your craft. And hats off to him, man, that he has continuously done that, at least as long as I've had him. And I've been pleasantly surprised with how he's played this season. Obviously, not everything's been perfect, but he's made some pretty big strides, and I'm happy for him.
After going through all that, how nice is it to see him get that big play?
Yeah, no question, man. I've followed over the years, even though I didn't coach here, obviously haven't played here. And so I did get a chance to see a little bit of the rocky roads as he started. But again, he's a senior who's played a lot of meaningful football. He's doing a good job of taking coaching and structure, and he's reaping the benefits as of right now.
On that last point, they threw a couple things at you that could have caused problems. It looks like by and large you had it covered up. Any mistakes back there? Or is it what you're supposed
there's
to?
a few plays on the back end of it that we'd like to be a lot tighter than we are. Anytime that there's space in between the receiver and the defensive back, we're not going to be comfortable with it. But the one thing that we know is that, and what we were doing last week in terms of playing a lot of man coverage, you're going to have situations where you're not necessarily in a prime position. Our job is to make sure that we're as tight to the receiver as possible within those first 4 to 5 seconds that the quarterback obviously has the ball. And we did that. We played a lot of man coverage, as I said, and then level 1, which is kind of that 0 to 5 yard area, being really good there, knowing that you want to take away the easy access throws or the quick throw is what we focused on all week. And I thought the guys were able to do that in spots.
On that last play, though, I know Akeem makes a nice recovery, but I think maybe it was Tyke and Mahone covered the corner. Was everything done right there?
Yeah. So on the last play, they ran, if you watch it closely, it's a double move. Where they switched 1 and 2, and then they stuttered and went. So there's 2 different concepts in one there, which is tough. Akeem was moved inside to play the nickel position at that time, and so that's not a natural position for him. We repped him at it throughout the week, kind of got him abreast as to what to do, and his job is to really wall the number 2. They switched 1 and 2, and he walled the new number 2, which was a guy that came inside. The guy stuttered and then went vertical, and he ran with it. So he did his job. If that ball is placed a little bit better, he's going to have to make a heck of a play. But that's a game of football. You know, moving the quarterback off of his spot, getting him to be uncomfortable while throwing the ball and playing tight coverage. They all kind of complement each other.
Them attacking that with the 1 and 2 switch, and like you said,
Right.
is that kind of designed to attack the palms coverage you got to play sometimes, and the way you all attack those?
You hit it on the head. That's a beater. And really, like I said, not only was there a 1-2 switch, but then there was a stutter that then came off of that. So there's all kind of layers within that coverage, man. And I was just happy that they were able to draw on what they knew, their rules, you know, hold and stick to them and make a play to get us out of the game.